In a physical crime scene, a fingerprint smeared by an investigator remains a smeared fingerprint. In a digital environment, a single flipped bit in a massive database can render an entire storage drive completely unrecognizable to the system reading it. Locating an incriminating text message or a hidden financial ledger on a suspect's laptop is a technical success, but a legal failure if you cannot prove who authored the data or guarantee its state since discovery. Courts require proof of authenticity. Digital evidence is highly volatile, easily concealed across multiple cloud servers, and capable of being perfectly copied. Crucially, it can be modified, deleted, or overwritten without leaving any visible physical trace. Because the evidence is so malleable, investigators cannot rely on running automated software tools and trusting the output. Extracting data without a disciplined, verifiable sequence of actions destroys the forensic value of that data. Digital forensics is a strict, verifiable discipline built on three interlocking components. The process workflow dictates the technical steps. Evidence integrity provides mathematical proof no data was altered. And chain of custody is the unbroken log documenting who handled the data. These components rely entirely on one another. If an investigator successfully recovers a deleted file but fails to log a transfer, or alters a timestamp during extraction, the resulting data becomes legally and scientifically void. This flowchart illustrates the six-phase digital forensic investigation model, dictating operations before touching a keyboard. Phase 1 is preparation. Investigators secure legal authority and assemble specific hardware before arriving. This includes tools like write blockers. A write blocker is a hardware device that intercepts and blocks any data modification commands from reaching a connected storage drive. Phase 2 is identification. Investigators survey the scene to determine what hardware might hold relevant data. Today, that perimeter extends beyond laptops and smartphones to include smart TVs, network routers, security firewalls, and remote cloud accounts. Once a device is identified, the investigator must immediately assess its physical state. They evaluate whether the device is currently powered on, if it has an active connection to a wireless network, and whether it appears to be running any visible encryption processes. The answers to these state questions dictate every subsequent technical decision. An active network connection might allow a remote user to wipe the device, requiring immediate isolation. Errors made in these first two phases establish a flawed baseline. Failing to secure the physical perimeter or missing a backup drive leaves investigation avenues completely blind. Advancing to the preservation and collection phases introduces the most complex technical hurdle in the field, the volatility paradox. This illustrates an encrypted laptop. The hard drive stores locked files. RAM holds active data and decryption keys. Pulling the plug secures the drive, but flushes RAM, destroying keys. A live acquisition captures RAM while running, saving keys, but inevitably leaves a small footprint. In live forensics, the standard shifts. The goal moves from achieving zero change on the system to executing minimal, necessary, and perfectly documented change. The ultimate objective of the collection phase is to generate a bit-by-bit forensic image of the storage media. This is an exact mathematical duplicate of the original drive. The cardinal rule of digital forensics is that investigators must only perform their technical analysis on this verified copy, never the original device. Evidence collection is an engineered balance. The investigator calculates the risk of interacting with the system against the need to capture fleeting data. With the data successfully copied, the workflow moves to the examination and analysis nodes. Phase 5, examination, is highly technical. Investigators process the copied data to locate artifacts. They carve for deleted files, extract hidden metadata from documents, and pull raw system registry logs. Phase 6, analysis, interprets those specific artifacts. The investigator maps the recovered data to reconstruct specific events, answering who accessed the system, what actions they took, and precisely when it happened. On this timeline, a 2 a.m. login, a 2:05 database access, a 2:06 USB connection, and a 2:10 outgoing email. Stacked sequentially, these data points form a coherent action. An employee logged in, copied confidential files to a drive, and emailed a competitor. While examination provides the individual points of activity, analysis explains how they intersect to define the specific mechanics of the crime. A flawless technical analysis carries no weight in a legal proceeding if the investigator cannot definitively prove the data remained unaltered from the moment of collection. This requires evidence integrity, the technical and mathematical proof that the evidence in the courtroom is completely identical to the evidence found at the scene. The first line of defense is the hardware write blocker we discussed earlier, ensuring no stray commands physically alter the drive during the copying process. This demonstrates cryptographic hashing. SHA-256 takes an input and calculates a unique 64-character string acting as a digital fingerprint. If one bit changes, the output drastically changes. If the original's hash perfectly matches the forensic copy's hash, they are mathematically verified as identical. But mathematics cannot document human behavior. That requires the final pillar, chain of custody. Chain of custody is an unbroken chronological ledger. It logs exactly who seized the device, where it was stored, who transferred it to the lab, and who accessed it for analysis. Digital environments expand this administrative burden. Investigators document the physical device, every forensic image generated from it, and every exported report. If a hash perfectly proves technical integrity, but the handling log is missing a single signature, opposing counsel will argue the evidence was substituted while undocumented, compromising the entire case. These three interlocking gears represent a legally defensible case. Process workflow extracts data, evidence integrity validates math, and chain of custody logs handling. If an investigator analyzes an original drive, the integrity gear breaks. The entire system jams, and findings are discarded. In the field, particularly when dealing with volatile live memory, achieving a perfectly sterile extraction is rarely possible. Rigorous, methodical documentation serves as the ultimate safety net for necessary technical compromises. This culminates in the final phase of the workflow, reporting and presentation. A forensic report translates dense hex data, complex hash values, and fragmented system logs into a clear, objective document. It makes highly technical processes reproducible and understandable for juries and judges who lack technical backgrounds. Digital forensics is the rigorous, architectural process of engineering undeniable proof.